Hey guys, so today I thought we could do a full face of nothing new, chit chat, get ready with me. I just kind of feel like hanging out, chatting with you guys. My hair is very big and poofy right now. I just like refreshed it. This is second day hair and I put some of the Acure dry shampoo in and just a little bit of texture spray and wow, it's a little poofy, isn't it? It'll calm down in just a minute. I really want to do a rosy look today. Rosy makeup seems to be very in right now, and I want to do that using some older palettes. I definitely already have lots of rosy tones in my collection, and this was actually somewhat requested by Dipra Day. She asked if I could do looks with my Aether Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I do have the original one, so if you have the new one, this is not going to be like the exact same shades as that one, but I think I'm going to do a look with this palette, and probably we'll dip into my ABH Norvina palette, which is my pan that palette for the year, because this has a lot of really beautiful rosy tones in it, and I feel like these two palettes are going to make a really nice combo. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with my base products. My sunscreen of the day, by the way, is the Kopari Antioxidant Face Shield with SPF 30. Reviewed that in my recent sunscreen roundup. I really like this sunscreen. I actually reapplied it because I had applied it earlier this morning, went out, wore a mask, came back, so I wanted to touch up and apply some more, and I feel like it reapplied on itself really nicely. So it's a very hydrating, dewy sunscreen, but I really like how it just kind of, I feel like it just plumps up my skin really nicely. So I'm going to go in with my Oma Beauty Say What foundation. This is definitely an older one to my collection. I used this, the last time I used this was in the winter when my skin was quite dry. I do feel like this foundation is not very dry skin friendly. Definitely can cling to dry patches, but my skin has been much more normal recently, not a whole lot of dryness going on, which is so nice. It's nice to be out of the woods with the dry skin, but I'm hoping that this will work better for my skin than it did the last time. And in this, I have the shade White Pearl T2W, I believe. My sticker came off. The shade is a teeny bit too warm for me, as you can see there, but that's okay. I can make it work. So I did ask on Instagram if there were any like questions or topics that you wanted me to chat about in this Get Ready With Me, and I wanted to go ahead and answer this one because it's kind of on topic of what I was just talking about with the sunscreen. If you could only wear one sunscreen the rest of your life, what would you choose? Honestly, I think the one I would go with would be, I mean, I'm kind of picking the obvious answer here, but I think I would go with my Pipette SPF 50. This was my favorite of the roundup this year, and I just feel like you can't beat the value on this one, and I feel like it just works with my skin no matter what my skin is going through. Whether if I'm having dry skin, it is a nice hydrating option, so it's not, I don't have to worry about it like clinging to dry patches or like making me even more dry, but it's also not like so over the top glowy that it wouldn't be good during the summertime when my skin is more oily in the T-zone. It's also just such a great bang for your buck that like I can easily repurchase it and not have to spend a ton of money. One tube is going to last me a long time because it comes with 4 ounces. I could also use it on both the face and the body and not feel like I'm just like going through it too quickly for the price. So that would be my pick if I could only use one sunscreen for the rest of my life. I know that's kind of like the obvious answer because it was in my first place spot in my roundup, but I don't know. I still feel like this foundation just looks a little bit dry on my skin. Even though I don't have any like really obvious dry patches or anything, I just feel like it looks kind of like, let me get up close here. I just feel like, especially like on my upper lip, it just looks kind of dry. But we'll see how it comes together once I apply the rest of my makeup. Speaking of Oma though, I also want to use my Double Take Contour and Highlight Stick because this is definitely quite old to my collection. I talked about this in my 5 high-end products that are worth it and 5 high-end products that are not. This was in my worth it category because it's such a beautiful cream contour. I mean, look at how just smoothly that glides on. And I'm just gonna blend that out with this brush. This is the BK Beauty and Angie Hot and Flashy A507. And see how you can just kind of like stipple over that and it's blended. I feel like a lot of stick cream products do not blend that easily. Like, watch this. I don't even have to rub back and forth. I can just kind of stipple it in. I'm gonna use my good old e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I'm going to kind of dot this on and let it sit for a second while I apply my cream blush. That's kind of been the order that I've been doing things lately. because I feel like when I blend out my concealer first, then blend out my cream blush, sometimes my brush will like pick up some of the concealer. And so this way I'm not losing any of the coverage. For cream blush, I'm actually going to use my CoverGirl Honeyed Bloom lipstick. This is in my project pan, and I wanted to show you guys what this looks like as a cream blush and how it applies and everything, because I mentioned that's one of the ways that I have been using it. And so what I'll typically do anytime I use a bullet lipstick as a cream blush, I'll just kind of draw some on the back of my hand, about that much. And then I will take a brush, I'm just going to use the same brush that I used to blend out the contour, pick it up on my hand, and then go in just like I would normally apply any other cream blush. Quite simple. But this just makes such a beautiful, just like rosy nude color. I like to take it across the nose too. And there it is. That's so pretty. I might add a little bit more in a second, but first I am going to blend out my under eye concealer. Actually, I'm going to use, this is that concealer brush I talked about in my recent favorites video that went up. It should be already up. I'm doing quite a bit of pre-filming right now, but I think that video went up before this one. This is the Angie Hot and Flashy A506 concealer brush. I love the slant of this. I don't think I've ever seen a brush with this shape. And it really is perfect for blending out concealer. Like, I like to just kind of, again, like stamp it in. I don't rub back and forth. I just sort of tap. And I just get such a nice, like, fuller coverage application too, because my sponge isn't soaking up any of the coverage. And I'm also able to get it a very targeted application. Like, it's not going to cover up too much of that cream blush because I'm able to just keep the brush targeted right in that under eye area. Okay, so let's see. I'm looking at some of these other questions that came in. A couple of people asked if we are still fostering. We haven't fostered in a while because honestly, we just have our hands full with our own cats, with our 3 cats, especially with Bee still being so young. She is a year old now. She turned 1 in February, but she's still very, very energetic and definitely needs a lot of attention from us still. So we just feel like we don't really have the capacity to foster. And I do think that with fostering, you do kind of have to be in a place where you have the time and energy to really put a lot into it. And right now we just don't feel like we can do that responsibly. So we would like to foster again at some point, probably when Bee is a little bit older, assuming that we like have the space and everything, but right now it's just not really feasible. So that's why we haven't fostered in a little while. So I just went in with my Becca liquid highlighter in Champagne Pop. That's in my project pan. This is just such a nice highlighter. This might surprise those of you who are following my project pan, but I actually removed the stopper on this just before filming this video because the applicator was not reaching the product in the bottom anymore. So I wasn't expecting to be removing the stopper so soon, but yeah, little spoiler for those of you who are following along with that. One question that I got was, no shade, but wondering why you haven't tried Rare Beauty or if you have any plans to try them. Yeah, I haven't tried Rare Beauty, and the reason why I haven't tried anything from them is because it seems like their cruelty-free status is not totally confirmed. They are PETA certified, but PETA is not like the most trustworthy source for that kind of thing, so whenever a brand is PETA certified, I also like to see that they're confirmed cruelty-free by at least one other source that I follow, and the 3 that I look at are Leaping Bunny, Logical Harmony, and Cruelty Free Kitty. And both Logical Harmony and Cruelty Free Kitty have Rare Beauty on their gray area brand list, which just means that they weren't able to provide them enough information to fully prove that they're cruelty free. So that's why I would like to see them be certified by a more trustworthy source before I purchase from them and show them on my channel. I do just like to have some kind of guidelines that I go by since I do have a channel. I just want to be sure that they're cruelty-free before I promote them as cruelty-free, so that's why I know everybody has different cruelty-free standards, but that's just what I go by, so that's why you haven't seen me review any of their products. I'm just using my CoverGirl Clean Fresh pressed powder for both the under eyes and the face, and look at this massive pan in here. I'm kind of like unofficially trying to pan this. So I don't know if you guys heard the news yet, but we do finally have confirmation that Bite Beauty is closing down, which is very sad. I mean, I should have seen it coming because for a few months now, all of their products have been marked down on Sephora's website, on their website, everything's been half off for a while now, so I mean, in hindsight, it was probably pretty obvious that they were closing, but I still just, like, didn't believe that it would actually happen, you know? The nice thing, though, is that they are still gonna have their lip labs, like their in-person stores where you can go in and make a custom lipstick. Those are still gonna be around, so that's kind of nice that at least they're not fully going away. So anyway, if there's anything that you were wanting to pick up from Bite Beauty, pretty much all of their products are 50% off right now. I actually did purchase I'm gonna go in with a little bit of my CoverGirl Cheekers blush in Natural Twinkle, just to add a little bit more, because I feel like that lipstick is looking very subtle right now. But I actually did end up purchasing their lip crayon in the shade Stinger for $13 on Sephora the other day, just because I mentioned that in my video last week on products that were kind of tempting my no-buy. And I'm not on a lipstick no-buy. I have a cap that I'm allowed to buy 5 lipsticks this year, and so far I haven't bought any. So that was my first lipstick purchase of the year. So I'm excited about that because I don't have another shade like that in my collection, and it looks like just a really great, like, kind of neon coral red shade. Kind of looks similar to the Physicians Formula lipstick in Tulip Treatment that I used to love so much. So I'm excited to get my hands on that, excited that I was able to get it for basically a drugstore price. But yeah, it's sad to see Bite going. Actually, the only product I have in my collection from Bite right now is their Yay Sayer Gloss in Sugar Drizzle, which I actually just rolled into my project pan. So we are going to use this today as an ode to Bite Beauty, but a lot of people have been kind of speculating that the downfall of Bite Beauty was their big rebrand that they did a few years ago where they completely discontinued their old formulas. And the reason why they did that was to switch over to an entirely vegan formula. And I think a lot of people weren't happy about that. I mean, I personally think it's a good thing that they wanted to go completely vegan, but I think it's the fact that they changed the formulas of, like, their lip mask, and they never brought back their Amuse Bouche lipsticks. And, you know, the new formulas that they came out with just weren't quite the same. And I think that disappointed a lot of people. So, I don't know. I still feel like they had some really good products. And I know their complexion products were really popular. I never got a chance to try those. I don't think I will at this point. Like, I don't think I'm going to purchase their foundation or anything. But it is sad to see them go. Like, I feel like there's just so many other brands that I would have expected to go before Bite Beauty would close down, you know? Because anytime they did release a new product, it did get a decent amount of buzz, I think. It didn't seem like they were completely dead, but they definitely haven't released anything in a while, and so I think that was that, along with the fact that everything was discounted to 50% off everywhere, was kind of a telltale sign that things probably weren't going too well for them. But it's nice that their lip labs will at least still be around, and at least Bite Beauty isn't entirely going away. So, alright, let's get into the eye look now. I did my brows. I went ahead and set my eyelid primer from the crease up with the shade Base from the Norvina palette. I'm going to go into my Ather Beauty palette, and I'm going to start out with my favorite kind of starting out the crease shade, which is this one right here that's called Sandstone. It's this beautiful beige color that actually pulls quite rosy on my eyes. I feel like I'm super close to hitting pan on this shade. Like, there is a huge dip in this one. It's just the perfect transition color. Like, I need this color in the form of a single that I can just use every single day to start out my eye look, because it's perfect. Here's another question. If you weren't cruelty-free, what's one brand that you would want to try? I would probably say Maybelline, just because they're such a drugstore staple brand. It was so exciting when CoverGirl went cruelty-free a few years ago, because it just opens up so many more affordable options. And I don't know, I guess it doesn't seem like Maybelline has been that hyped up recently on YouTube, but they just have a good selection of products, especially mascaras. I would definitely want to try some of their mascaras because I used to use Maybelline mascaras back in high school, and I loved, what was it? Maybe it was the Colossal Lash. I have no idea if I would still like it today, but I also remember really liking the Great Lash, which was in like the pink and green tube. So classic. That's probably one of the oldest mascaras to still be sold to this day. But yeah, probably Maybelline, just because they're so accessible and affordable. Next, I'm going to go into this like deeper kind of dusty mauve shade called Scorpio And I'm going to use like a small crease brush. This one is the A502 from the Angie Hot and Flashy and BK brushes. Yeah, I'm just going to I'm going to do a pretty simple look today. Lately I've just been really enjoying easy looks. Alright, so here's another question. I was sitting here trying to think of how I wanted to answer this. Something you would change about the current state of the beauty community. This is really tough. There was another question that I think kind of goes in line with how I would answer this question, and it was, I wonder what you think of TikTok beauty influencers who purposely misuse products. And I think what I would change about the current state of the beauty community is just the obsession with virality on TikTok. It doesn't seem like TikTok really rewards thorough reviews. I feel like I sound like such an old person when I say this, but I really don't like TikTok. I'm trying to get with the times and be more active on TikTok and, you know, post little videos on there. And I definitely do see the value in TikTok. I think it has made a really big, it's really changed the beauty community and the beauty industry. I think it's cool how, one thing I think is cool about TikTok is how older products that have been on the market for a long time can suddenly make a comeback because of a TikTok video. But on the flip side of that, I really don't like how it's so focused on these quick, not very thorough or well thought out reviews. And I think you can still put out quality, well thought out reviews in a short form video format like that. I think it's possible, but I think that's just not what ends up happening a lot of the time. And a lot of products will just go viral because one person was able to make it look really cool on a quick video. I'm gonna go in with the shade Love from the Norvina palette now, just to add a little bit more pinky rosiness to this look. Just a little bit. Just blending that into the crease. It's kind of funny that now so much YouTube content is about TikTok. Like, TikTok made me buy it, testing viral makeup products on TikTok, reacting to TikToks. I mean, obviously that's because that's a topic that's of interest to people now, so that's why people are doing those videos, but I just think it's kind of funny how like a lot of YouTube content is now centered around TikTok just as a platform. So in some ways I kind of wish that things would go back to the way they were before TikTok existed, but at the same time I do see how TikTok has renewed a lot of people's excitement in products, and it's allowed certain brands to make a complete comeback, like KVD Beauty. KVD Beauty was dead. Like, nobody was talking about their products, nobody was reviewing them, and then it's actually ironic how it was the Good Apple foundation that went viral on TikTok, which I think that's kind of what gave KVD a comeback. I'm gonna apply some of this. This is like a slightly more purpley light shimmer called Rose Quartz. I'm gonna just tap that on kind of the center of my lid. Man, this is just such an easy everyday palette. But yeah, as I was saying, it's kind of ironic how the comeback that KVD had was really due to all of the buzz and kind of like the fake buzz around the Good Apple foundation that turned out to really not be that great of a product. It just so happened to be a viral worthy product because it's really easy for somebody to just get on TikTok and apply like a super thick stripe of it on their cheek, not really showing how heavy and cakey that's going to look, but just making it look like, wow, it has so much coverage, wow. And of course that's gonna go viral because people just like to watch that kind of thing. It's like fun to watch, and then they all think it looks like such an amazing product and everyone goes out and buys it, and it turns out it's actually not that great of a product. That's what I wish would change about TikTok, but at the same time I can appreciate how, you know, any brand can kind of just make a comeback out of nowhere. And, you know, I'm sure KVD Beauty has some really great products too. And now that Kat Von D is no longer a part of the brand, I don't see anything wrong with supporting the company now. And now that brand overall, anytime they do release a new product, the new product is going to get a lot of buzz because everybody wants to see, oh, is this the next viral product? Anyway, I guess I would just like for the beauty community to go back to more thorough, well thought out reviews, which I think is just what YouTube is all about. And that's why I think that YouTube is not going anywhere. Like, there's so much speculation about, oh, is TikTok killing YouTube? Is YouTube gonna die? No. I mean, YouTube is owned by Google for one, so like, they're not going anywhere. I think there is always going to be room for long form content. And that's something that TikTok doesn't really have. I know they keep on extending how long TikTok videos are allowed to be. Like, now they can be, it used to be they could be only like a minute long, Maybe at one point it was even 30 seconds long, but now it's 3 minutes long. Before we know it, they're going to start letting people do 10-minute long videos on there, and I'm just like, okay, we already have this on YouTube. But anyway, I guess I mostly ended up using the rose quartz palette. That's okay, because I was really wanting to give this palette some more love. I'm going to take just a little bit more of that matte dusty mauve on my lower lash line. I will say, now that I've finally kind of given in and started trying to spend more time on TikTok, the thing is, I just really don't want another app like distracting me and taking up my time, but at the same time, I think, you know, since social media is my job, I think I do need to adapt and try to use TikTok. So the more I get on there, you know, I do think there is something kind of fun about the quick little videos like, hey guys, today I'm going to test out this new lip gloss I just bought. I kind of like that format too. Like, I think there is definitely a place for that. I just don't like how it's so easy for really quick, like, fake hype to just blow up on there. I don't love that. But I think the longer it's around, the more that will kind of, it'll be less and less easy for that kind of thing to go unchecked. I hope anyway. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Are you guys on TikTok? I do have a TikTok, by the way. It's just Sarah_Rose_beauty, the same handle as my Instagram. So if you want to check me out over there, I'm trying to be better about posting on there. My goal is to post on there once a week. I think that's an attainable goal. Because, you know, I think if I tell myself, okay, we're going to try to post 3 times a week, then I'm just going to automatically fail, because that's going to seem overwhelming. But I think I can definitely handle 1 post a week. And the nice thing about TikTok is that you don't have to put as much effort in. Like, for example, I actually posted kind of a TikTok version of my recent empties video, like my April empties, and it only took me like 20 minutes to film, edit it together on TikTok, and post that video. So it's kind of an easy thing I can add on. I think, you know, some people just like that short form content. So let me know if you're on TikTok, what kind of videos do you like to see over there? Because I'm still trying to get the hang of it. I'm going in with this deepest, like, dark gray shade here with this little smudge brush, and I'm just going to kind of smudge that along my upper lash line. Yeah, just such an easy everyday look. Put on some brow gel. This is a Pacifica Highest Def brow gel. I don't love this. I just don't feel like it has very strong hold. Like, I'm kind of just like, what was the point of me putting that in my brows? But it does help me kind of like get them shaped how I want them. I like to kind of brush them up, like even more so than I normally would, because the hairs inevitably will fall within like 30 seconds. So at least they maintain a little bit of that lifted look when I do it that way. I am going to apply some of my Chill setting spray from Urban Decay. Oh my gosh, it's leaking again. When am I going to learn to stop putting this on its side? Every time I do, it leaks. I really drenched my face there, didn't I? I am going to use my Essence Lash Princess Mascara just because I'm about to talk about this in a video about kind of like a roundup of all the makeup under $5 that I've tested recently and which ones are worth it, which ones are not. Unfortunately, it's a shame. I really like how this mascara makes my lashes look, but as a lot of people warned me, it does transfer pretty badly. And, you know, a lot of mascaras lately have been transferring on me, but this one is bad. So it's a shame, because it does give you just that very, like, wispy, lengthened lash look that I really love, but darn. But I found that even if I only put it on my upper lashes, it still will transfer down below. Okay, so for the lips, I do just want to do something really simple, but I want to use my Bite Gloss in Sugar Drizzle. I love these glosses. I know like half the people hated these, half the people loved them, specifically the packaging. I still love the packaging of this so much. I am going to go in with my Kokie lip liner in the shade Dusty Rose. And then I'm just going to top that with this clear gloss. Alright, so there is the finished look. I really love how the eye look paired with the blush combo, and that lip, really pretty. It definitely reminded me to pull out that Ather Beauty palette more often. I love this thing. Like I said, they discontinued this version, sadly, but they do have a new version that looks really pretty, similar vibe, but different shades still, so I still kind of want to get my hands on that new version at some point, but I also just love the old one. Really wondering now when I'm going to hit pan. Look how close I am to hitting pan on that beige shade. Like, look at that dip. You know what, actually, I'm gonna put a tiny finishing touch on here and take a little bit of this light pearly shade and dust that on the brow bone. I feel like that shade has enough of a just like really soft, subtle shimmer that it's not too frosty on the brow bone. The perfect brow bone highlight. Yes. Okay. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you've not already, and hopefully I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye.